What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I love to talk about all things Peloton, cycling, and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday. In today's video, I'm always excited for new split training programs have dropped on Peloton, 2 new ones. So I will be reviewing both, but today I'm going to be reviewing Andy's advanced 3-day split. The description is maximize your workouts by split training with Andy. Increase strength and build muscle in this 1-week program by using heavier weight and targeting specific areas of the body in each workout. Repeat and track your progress 3 days a week, and it's 30 minutes per day. With Andy Speer, I just finished doing Total Strength 1, so I'm excited to continue working out with Andy, kind of see what a more advanced strength session is with him. And I prefer the 3-day splits versus the 5-day splits, just because I feel like 5 days of strength is quite a bit, considering I like to do a lot of cardio as well. So I'm excited to try out this 3-day split and see how it is. It is structured pretty much the same as every other 3-day split. There's 1 legs and core day, 1 upper body pull day, and 1 upper body push day. So it is a Monday morning, which is the perfect time to start a split program. So we'll be doing day 1, class 1, which is a 30-minute legs and core class. The description is this split workout focuses on strengthening your largest muscles while also improving core and lower back stability. And I think we're just going to get right on into it. I'm really excited. I think that Andy really knows his stuff and he's going to bring it. I think this is going to be a hard one today. So let's hit the gym and knock out day 1, class 1. I absolutely love that class. I'm so excited for the rest of this split. Currently, my all-time favorite split is Jermaine Johnson's 3-day split, but I don't know, we'll see. Today was a very strong start. It might beat Jermaine Johnson's, which is a very high praise from me. So my only caveat is we did a 4 or 5 minute body weight warm-up, but the body weight warm-up was quite hard. It was like holding a split squat for a minute on one side and then the other side, and then we were doing 1-legged squats. So just keep that in mind. I think a warm-up for this class would be ideal. I did do yoga before doing this class, so I was already kind of warm, so I didn't mind it as much. But I can see that bothering me if I didn't do a warm-up at all and come in cold. So just keep in mind, pretty much straight from the beginning, you are working hard. And then after the bodyweight warm-up, we went into a bodyweight core segment, which I actually really liked. I feel like for legs and core classes, a lot of the time, core is an afterthought tagged on at the end. So I kind of liked that when we were fresh. We just got in a little segment. We did 5 core moves, 40 seconds each, no break in between each move. So, I definitely had to take a couple breaks myself, but I got right on into it. And they were all simple moves. We did a bicycle, then crunch, then roll up, superhuman, and bear crawl. And that's another thing I really liked about this class. All of the moves were very simple. Andy said himself, yeah, the difficult part of this class or the advanced part isn't going to be understanding the moves. It's the weight and the reps. And that is what I love. That's actually my complaint for a lot of advanced split classes on Peloton, is that the moves are just complicated. And I don't want complicated moves. I want simple moves that are effective. So after we did that little core segment, we only did it once. We went into our main leg set, I guess, which was just reverse lunge on one side while holding a weight on that side, reverse lunge on the other side while holding a weight on the other side, and then deadlifts. And we did each of these moves for 45 seconds with a pretty small amount of recovery. I think no recovery between the 2 lunges, switching sides, and then 15 seconds after the lunges to the deadlift, and then 30 seconds before we repeated the set. And we did the set 4 times. He said he used heavy weights. I grabbed 20, which at the beginning felt a little bit easy because you only hold 1 weight when you're doing the lunges. But I'm kind of glad I stuck with 20 because repeating it 4 times, I could definitely start to feel the burnout at the end. Next time I might try to bump up to 25 just to see how it feels, but he's also like, don't bump up like crazy because your grip strength will die. So I could definitely feel my grip strength going a little bit at the end. So maybe that was good advice and 20 pounds is right for me. But overall, I like that set. Lunges aren't my favorite, but I love deadlifts and I just feel like it was structured well. Then we went into a little like squat set, which this was very interesting. Essentially, he's like, get your heavy weights and your medium weights. So I had 20s and 15s and you had 30 seconds holding both 20s, 30 seconds holding both 15s, 30 seconds doing a goblet squat with just 120, 30 seconds doing a goblet squat with just 115, and then body weight squats for 30 seconds. And you only had 10 seconds rest in between. So this was like definitely to get the heart rate up, but I liked it. So essentially you're just getting lighter and lighter as you go through the set until you're at body weight and you have like no weight and you feel amazing because you have no weight. But I just feel like it was structured really well because there isn't a lot of recovery, but the squats keep getting progressively easier. I've just never done a set structured like that, and I really appreciated it. I thought it was like pretty cool and a way to keep this class fresh, because that's the other thing. I feel like when you do simple moves, it can get kind of boring, but I feel like the way this class was structured, you were just like jumping around, doing like cool sets, and then you were done. And then to wrap up the class, we went back to core. We had a 4-minute AMRAP. The 4-minute AMRAP was 6 roll-ups, 8 hip dips, side planks on like both sides, and then 10 Russian twists with your medium weight. And I don't love AMRAPs, but I thought this one was pretty good. Usually my complaint with AMRAPs is my heart rate just gets like so elevated. I'm like not doing the moves right because I'm worried about going quickly. But I didn't feel like this one was that bad, mostly because I don't think like roll-ups or hip dips are that bad. So I feel like it felt really manageable to me. Like my heart rate wasn't spiky and I didn't feel like I like needed recovery desperately. So overall, it was a good way to like wrap up the class. And then we were over, we did a little bit of stretching after the class, and that wrapped up day 1. I just really love this class. No notes, no complaints really. I guess the only thing is that the bodyweight warm-up is quite difficult just from the beginning. But I really enjoyed the way that we like alternated between core and then legs and then core back again. I love the squat set. It was just a really good class. Difficulty, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I didn't think it was like super, super difficult. That's probably on me. I probably could have pushed up to 25 pounds. But for like coming back, I just got back from vacation. So I didn't want to like go super, super hard out of the gate on the first day. So it felt good. For enjoyability, I give it like a 9.5 out of 10. If you can't tell, I love this class. So I'm really excited to try the other 2 days. Andy really brought it today. He's setting the bar very high for the rest of the week. And yeah, today was a great kickoff. It is now Wednesday morning and I'm in a different location. I'm in San Francisco for a work trip, but that does not stop the split grind. I haven't traveled for work in a while, but I do want to like get in the good habit of still working out. And now that I come from the East Coast, I'm basically like, I'm here for a short time. Let's just try to stay on East Coast hours as well as I can. So it's around 5:40 a.m. and I'm ready to get this workout on. Today's class is class 2. It's a 30-minute upper body pull class. The description is grab your weights and get ready for this upper body split workout focused on strengthening your back and biceps. And I usually like pull workouts and I loved class 1, so I'm excited to kick it off today with class 2. So let's go to this hotel gym and knock out this split training class. First off, that gym was way more crowded than I thought it would be at 6 a.m. I guess everyone else also had the same idea of getting in a workout before work. But wow, that's like the most crowded I've ever seen a hotel gym. So I definitely had to fight for weights a bit, but this was still a really good workout class. I really, really enjoyed it. We started off with a 4-minute warm-up, and this warm-up was significantly easier than the warm-up from class 1 because I didn't do yoga or any kind of warm-up. I just went in cold and I was a little worried, but it was very easy. We did like child's pose and then some like shoulder work where we were lifting our arm up in child's pose. It warmed up the shoulders nicely without being like too intense for a warm up. So warm up, no complaints, body weight, 4 minutes. We got through it. Then we got into the first set, which was kind of like a warm-up set. We started off doing a heavy weight and a dumbbell lat pullover. So almost like a skull crusher, but instead of going like this, you're kind of like bringing it completely over, really getting your lats involved. I used one 20-pound weight. I feel like that was the appropriate weight. And then we alternated that with Zotman curls. So curl up, switch, and then curl down. Andy said to use your curl weights, and typically for curls, I would try to push to 15, but the 15 pounds were just not available. So I did 10 for the entire workout actually. And I feel like 15 I might have been able to do, but there was a lot of like complexes, supersets. So I am kind of glad that I stuck with 10. I just tried to go a little bit faster, and I feel like that still made the class fairly intense. We did that set twice. We did the dumbbell lat pullovers for a minute and then the Zotman curls for 45 seconds with 15-second rest in between. So not a lot of rest, but it was kind of just like a warm-up set, which I liked. Then we got into our first kind of main set, which I stuck with 10 pounds, which was good for the curls, a little light for the rows, but because it was a superset, I feel like it worked out. So we did bicep curls. We like changed what we did. Like sometimes we did bicep curls, sometimes we did hammer curls, but you know, curls for 45 seconds and then straight into 45 seconds of bent over rows on both sides. So at the same time. And this definitely felt a little easy because I was using 10 pounds, but honestly, by the end of the curling, I felt burnt out because I was going pretty fast. And the rows, I just tried to keep up the intensity. And because it was a superset, I feel like it was still pretty intense. I would probably push up to 15 pounds if I was at home and like had access to 15-pound weights. But with 10 pounds, it wasn't bad either. We did that set 3 times with a minute rest in between each superset. So a good amount of recovery, but when you were working, you were really working. Then we went into my favorite set of the day that was very reminiscent of the squat set we did in day 1, where essentially on one side, you were doing bent over rows, which I already find that pretty hard to like maintain balance. I really feel myself working. And you did a heavy weight and then a medium weight and then a light weight, which I just like the structure of this. I think it's pretty fun. And I enjoy that it gets easier throughout the set. I just had 20s and 10s, so I did 2 20 sets and then 1 10 set. And man, oh man, the 10 set felt really good when I got to it at the end. And we did not have a lot of recovery during this set. We did 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Did 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, and then we repeated that again. So we did each side twice, and that was quite the push, but it felt really good. Like 20-pound bent over rows are pretty hard for me, and I feel like doing it on one side makes it even harder. So it felt like a good push. We were really going at the rows. I feel like my arms might be sore tomorrow, but we'll see, because I could feel the burnout by the end of this row set. And then we just finished off with curls. So for 2 minutes, we essentially did some holds where we would hold at 90 degrees, and that already burns. We would hold for like 20 seconds and then do 40 seconds of curls where you could alternate to kind of like, you know, get out that tension, and then hold again for 20 seconds and do the alternating curls for another 40 seconds, and then the class was done. I feel like that was a good little burnout. It felt pretty good to me because I was using 10 pounds, but he's like, if this feels easy, then do them at the same time. And I tried that and I was like, okay, this feels a lot harder. That's definitely another pro that I really like about this split, is basically Andy is acting like you're gonna take it again, which all the instructors do, but he's giving you advice. So he's like, yeah, on like the 2nd or 3rd week, you know, maybe try to go up on reps here, try to add weight. He's like, instead of, you know, alternating, do them at the same time if you're on like your 3rd or 4th week. I just feel like I like that he's offering these progressions to make it harder, so that if you take it again, it's going to be like a little less boring. You're not doing the exact same thing, because I really enjoy the split programs. But yeah, my biggest complaint is that if you're taking it regularly, it gets pretty stale fast because you're just doing the same exact class every time. So I like that he adds in the progressions. But overall difficulty today, I would give like an 8 out of 10. I'd probably feel like it was a little more difficult if I had 15-pound weights, but I could still feel the burnout at the end. Enjoyability, like 9.5 out of 10. Again, I really like today's class. I just feel like these are structured so fun. The class flies by so quickly and you're still getting like an amazing workout. And I just love the simple moves, but having them be hard in like the sets that he's making. So overall, really, really enjoyed the class today and I'm excited to wrap up this split. It is now the next morning and kind of surprisingly, I'm not sore at all from yesterday's workout class, which like no complaints, always nice when you're not sore. So I'm just gonna jump right on into class 3 of this split. The last class, it is a 30-minute upper body push class. The description is target your chest, shoulders, and triceps in this dynamic upper body push workout. And triceps are not my favorite, and we usually do push-ups too during this, which are also not my favorite. But you know, I trust Andy. He's been doing a good job so far. So let's hit the gym and knock out the last class in the split. I like that class, but not as much as the first 2 classes in this split. I think it's mostly just being a push day. Like push exercises are not my favorite. So, you know, Andy was trying his best with the exercises that we had to do, but any class that I have to do push-ups in is not that good of a time for me. So we started off, we had a 3-minute bodyweight warm-up. That was very chill, very easy. So again, it felt good going in cold. And then we kind of had our warm-up set, which we just did one time. It was chest flies being on our back, and then push-ups, and then lateral raises. The chest flies, he said to use medium weights. I used 15 pounds. That was pretty hard for me, especially coming like right out of the gate. And the lateral raises, he said to use light weights, which I used 10 pounds, and that felt good. For the push-ups, I started off my knees, but then I like went on my knees like halfway through the segment. But it was a good little warm-up introductory movement into the class. I did really try to push myself on weight today as well. Sometimes I had to rein it back, but that was like another thing. I was like, this is the last day. Like, I'm definitely not going to do strength tomorrow. Like, let's go as hard as we can. You know, that's kind of the point of the split. So keeping that in mind, we got into our first set that we repeated, and it was all different like overhead presses. We started off doing overhead presses and then alternating overhead presses and then finishing with push presses. And he said to use your heavy weights and then like if you really needed to go down to your medium weights. So heavy weights for me are usually 20 pounds. So for the first set, I did do 20 pounds. We did the set 3 times. And I could just tell that my form was bad and I would do better if I had 15 pounds. Like it was very, very hard, especially because it was 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off. You're not getting a lot of recovery and you're doing essentially the same movement over and over again. So after the first set, I went down to 15 pounds, which honestly was still a push because you are doing so many overhead presses. But that felt better than the 20 pounds. It felt like I could keep like my ribs from flaring less with the 15 pounds. Then our second big set of the day was skull crushers for 40 seconds and then immediately going into a crush press, which is like a chest press, but you're like pushing the weights together as well on your back. Then we got a little bit of a break. We got a 20-second recovery, and then we did 40 seconds of neutral chest presses on our back. And it was kind of unclear what weight we should use. I don't know if I missed it, but I was using 15 pounds for the skull crushers, which is definitely a push, but it felt good. And then I stuck with the 15 pounds for the crush press because that also is kind of like the right weight and there's no time to switch weights. So whatever you do for the skull crushers, you also have to do for the crush presses. And then he wanted you to go up to heavy weights for the chest presses, which I tried the first time, went up to 20, but it was just like really hard because there wasn't a lot of recovery. So then I just stayed at 15 for the next 2 times. We did it 3 times in total. And again, that still felt like a really good push to me. I think I just learned today that 20 pounds for a lot of arm movements are just too hard for me. But you know, I'm glad I tried it. And then the last little wrap up section was kind of like an AMRAP. We did 45 seconds of each move and it was all light weights. So at first overhead extensions, then front raises, then lateral raises, then a quick break to finish with a tricep push-up. And yeah, those push-ups were looking pretty bad at the end. He's like, oh, like try to start off your knees. And I'm like, yeah, not today, not after this 30 minutes of exercise. But overall, I did like this class. I was a little sad that we didn't have kind of like the progressive movement that we've had in the past two classes where like you start with more weight and then you like go down in weight as you're like doing more and more reps, because I did really like that kind of setup and I was surprised we didn't have it today. But besides that, the class did go by really quickly. Like I felt like it was a good workout and the music was really good for me. It was all like 2010s like pop punk music. So I did really like the music. I was jamming out to it and we got through it. I would give this class difficulty like an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty difficult, especially because I was really trying to push weight and then I had to reel it back. Enjoyability, I'd give it like an 8 to 8.5 out of 10 as well. Not as enjoyable as the past 2 days, but I did really like this class still. And overall, I really, really like the split program. This is my new favorite 3-day split program. I just feel like the moves are simple, but they're still hard based on the way that he like structures the class. And that's kind of like the perfect strength split program for me. And I also like how he offers the progressions. So when I retake this, like there's something that you're aiming towards. Like he's like, oh, for the overhead press section, like eventually we want to get to the point where we're only on our heavy weights the whole time. And like that feels like a goal that I can work towards as I'm retaking this split again and again. So I definitely just really love the programming. I enjoy this a lot more than the total strength program I just took with Andy. I do still have to take total strength too, so we'll see if that changes my mind, but I really enjoy this split program. It surprised me a lot and I'm happy that I have a new split program that I really like. So that is it for this video. Let me know if you've taken Andy's 3-day split. I would be curious what your thoughts are. I feel like it is very different than some of the other splits, but that is why I like it so much. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!